partnership with Sandparks. So the French Biodiversity Agency, SANBI and Sandparks are working together to exchange knowledge and expertise on how to manage, monitor, and evaluate MPAs. So it's very related to everything that has been said this morning, because it is key to build trust and build relationship all together, and because we have a lot of learn. So maybe you will be like, okay, what's the link between South Africa and France? But the thing is, the more we talk and the more we exchange on the way we manage our MPAs, the more we realize that we have a lot in common and we are facing the same issues. So that's something very important to me. And the partnership is here for, I'm going to be there for 2 years, and it's going to last for hopefully a bit more. So I'm not going to present the partnership today. I'm just going to present, Okay, good. I'm going to do first a quick presentation of the French Biodiversity Agency. It's a public institution as Sandparks and SANBI in South Africa, so it's pretty much related. We do have the same missions. It has been created in 2020, but it's a merging of a few agencies in France, and one of those is the MPA agency. The 5 missions are to support public policies, also bring knowledge, research, and expertise, mobilizing society and law enforcement, and the last one is also management of protected areas, which is the one we're going to talk about right now. What's interesting is that we do manage protected areas in France, obviously, and the French Biodiversity is managing some of those. We have a lot of layers like in South Africa, due to the national but also European and international scale. And OFB is responsible for some of those, so it's managing and co-managing some of those areas. The one that I'm going to present today is the marine nature parks that we have, but we are also managing the AGOA sanctuary and more than 100 marine Natura 2000 sites, and some of terrestrial 2000 sites also. And we also have many, many reserves, hunting reserve, wildlife reserves in France. So the marine nature parks is a relatively recent tool in France because it was created in 2006 by a law. And since that, we have been creating 8 marine nature parks. They are all based, 6 of them are based in mainland France and 2 are on the overseas territories. So the first one is, how does it work? Is this one? Yeah. The first one created was Iroise in Brittany. And then you have Mayotte, so it's near Madagascar here. Golfe du Lion in the south of France. And then you have Estuaire Picard, Mer d'Opale, and Arcachon, and Gironde that are on the west coast of France. Then in Corsica here, little island, and the last one is Martinique in the Caribbean Sea. Those MPAs, parks, are created by decree and are fully attached to OFB. So the parks team is fully attached to OFB. And when they are created, we only define the perimeter of the park. We decide who's going to be the composition of the management council, which is something I'm going to explain to you right after, and also the orientation of the parks. There is no specific regulation created, because this will come later on when the management council is deciding, because we need to take into consideration all the stakeholders' voice. The MPAs are located in areas, as you can see, where there is like a dense population, because it's like super close to big cities or municipalities. And there is a high pressure and there is a lot of conflict between human activities and nature. And this is key because we really need to take into account those issues. And there is 3 main objectives for the parks, which are the protection, obviously, of biodiversity, building knowledge around those areas, and this one is very important, the sustainable development of sea-related activities. Because those areas are super dense and there's a lot of activities, we cannot ignore that. We cannot ignore those important also activities, and we need to take those into account. And sometimes it's conflicting with the protection of biodiversity, but people are living here, so we have to take this into account. So the specificity of the marine nature parks is the management council, it's the governance, because it is made with an assembly of the stakeholders. It can be state representative, local elected representatives, but also marine professionals, so fishermen, can be leisure users, it can be also environmental protection associations, or even scientists, and those people are just all together around the table, talking and just voting, and they all have a voice. So there is a certain percentage of seats, depending on how big is, for instance, the fishermen in the area, and then they will have, it's like a parliament, so they will all be together and vote and decide whatever they want to do within the park. And then the management team of the park has to apply what they want to do. This is key. And it's very important for us to involve those people and give them a voice, because they, like when you do this, you allow them to realize what's going on and to better understand the ecological and economic challenges in the area, and also to help them to have a shared vision of the area, which is very key. The Management Council's mission is to validate the management plan, obviously. So the management plan is for 15 years, and then they also validate every year an action program and all the activities that are going to happen within the park, so any project, and they just agree or not if they want to do any project. And they also have two other main missions, which are to propose regulations to the state, because the Management Council and the park cannot regulate. They have to they have to ask the state to do it. And they can also give opinion and decisions about any activity that may harm the marine environment. And this is very, very important. So whenever there is any activity that will affect the park, inside or outside the perimeter of the park, the Management Council is asked to just have a study and see whenever it's positive or not for the park. And if it's not, they can give an opinion, and this opinion is mandatory, so the state have to say if yes or not they will apply it, they will do it. So those opinions, they are mandatory for marine farming concessions, authorization for anchorage and light equipment zones, and also sea enhancement schemes, which are land use planning and knowledge building tool designed to better integrate and enhance the coastline, and also for any activity, as I said, that will have an impact over the marine environment of the park, and if it's or not inside the perimeter of the park. There is one example of opinion that I would like to share with you, because I think it makes a lot of sense. So it was in the Gironde PNM, so on the west coast of France. There were some companies that wanted to exploit a deposit of marine aggregates within the park, inside, on the coastline. And the PNM Council was consulted, because obviously it's inside the park, and they issued an unfavorable opinion, saying that they cannot do it because it will have a negative impact on the marine wildlife. And after this, the ministry, because they give this opinion to the ministry, and the ministry has to follow it, so they refused the concession, the exploitation to the companies. But the companies were not really happy about it, so they went into court and they asked the court to do something, and the court cancelled the opinion and asked the park to do another review and assessment of whether or not they can do it or not. So the park did it again, they went deeper into the research, and they ended up giving the same information to the Management Council, and the Management Council had to vote again to say if whether or not they accept the exploitation, and they say no again. So another time the ministry had to come back to the company being like, we can't, you cannot have it, you're not gonna have the concession, and the company agreed to just let it go. So I am done, but what I really want to say, because I know I have another minute, it's like this kind of participatory governance can have pros and cons, because obviously it's very important for us because we take into account all the stakeholders and everyone has a voice, and it really helps them to get involved into the decisions and realize how important it is to have those parks. But it's also not always positive, because those decisions can be less ambitious than what we want, as like we do want to protect the nature, but we also want to let the people like have their life and earn money and everything. So it is good and not good, but I guess it's like another way of managing, and it's good to present it to you today.